ipsy.com and get information. It is a free show. It's going rain or shine. They're going to have a shotgun raffle. There's going to be a lot of vendors there. So if you've ever thought about getting prepared, maybe having some extra food around the house or water filtration systems or anything like that, go to the Emergency Expo off of M59 next to the Livingston County Airport. And is that today? Ooh, that's today. 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. So you've got a couple hours. Hurry, get up there and get there. So 1911 Tooley Road. Check it out, readylivingston.com.
Be a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
Be a Boy Scout. Be prepared. Well, let's take a call from Will from Ypsi, who's been patiently waiting. Will, welcome to the show.
Hey, Gary, you know it's time for my weekend call to you, brother.
Yes, we have a new Ypsi listener. We got Will. Go ahead, Will. What do you got?
Oh, I love you guys. And Ypsi, I got to tell you, I might have grown up in Ann Arbor, but Ypsi is my favorite town, brother. Hey. It's a great place to be.
Yes, sir.
So what I wanted to talk to you about, Gary, is you were talking about earlier about us ceding our territory over the Internet. Basically, the rest of the world, is that correct?
Yep.
You know, that is one of the most, I don't call it insane, because insane is knowing that you're not doing something right. You know, you don't have no control over it. This is stupidity. And, you know, what's going on is we're going to let everybody else control what's coming in here. Why? Why is that? They already do it in China. Have you ever seen the Chinese rules on engaging in their Internet? I have a friend at U of M that does it. He goes, it's almost impossible to do anything on there.
Yeah, I've got friends who go to China for business all the time, and they're like, man, you cannot, they worry about being on the Internet in China just because somebody's tracking them. They worry about if they click on the wrong websites and everything else. So, yeah, you've got issues. And in Russia, it's the same way. In Iran, it's the same way. And these are the countries that will have a little more, it may not be as bad as everybody thinks. I don't know, but why take the chance? You know, here in America, we are not exactly censor-free, because if you're on Facebook or Twitter, you're seeing censorship all the time. You're getting kind of jacked around a little bit. But why cede it out to an international group of people who probably don't have the same intentions that we do? Well, you know what I mean?
You know, the other thing, too, is you know, I kind of make this as kind of a strange hobby. But, you know, I would say the three people you just named, I would say that almost 90% of the denial attacks and hacking come from the countries you said, Russia, China, and Iran.
Yeah.
And what are you going to expect later when you can't stop it from coming in? And, you know, I don't know if you know what a denial of service is. It might be like taking over your grid controls.
Yeah.
Or electrical and such.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, we already have hard enough problems with rolling blackouts because we stopped doing coal. Now we're going to do this electronically.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
anyway,
this is like suicide once again, isn't it, Will? I mean, we're literally committing suicide by giving control away. We still haven't hardened our grid. We're not protected from EMPs. We're not protected from cyber hacking of our electrical grid. Why isn't the United States government doing this? Is what they're supposed to be doing. This is their job, protecting Americans by protecting the grid, and not one of them. The Democrats are just holding back on allowing this to happen.
You're speaking of a government that is supposed to be controlled by the Constitution, that gave that up a long time ago and hasn't been able to be reined in, and so is doing whatever they want and diminishing American authority, American respect around the world, apologizing for us right from the beginning of their administration.
Yeah.
Well,
you got that right. Here's another one thing too. Could you imagine him shutting down a nuclear reactor?
Yeah, you know, and then you get the China syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you get that slow burn, and then the dirty bomb or the dirty effect, radiation effect that comes with the Chernobyl. Yeah, and in fact, I've got a buddy who's a prepper, right? And he is literally planning to move to a certain part of the country, and I'm not going to say where, but he's charted the airflow and the currents and everything else. There's a couple places in the country that you can go to that after an EMP happens and the grid goes down, where that fallout from our nuclear plants going offline and burning down, where you can go. A big chunk of this country will be in serious trouble.
And all you have to do is book a flight to go there when it happens. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. Yeah,
here's another thing for you, Gary, because I know I've been on for a while. You know, it just takes something so stupid for somebody to just come over here and just knock a power pole out, and that's your denial of service in an area. I mean, it just has to be small attacks here. and that's enough to put us back. So anyway, Thank you for taking my call. Thanks.
You got it. Thanks, Will. I appreciate it. So, that should remind all of us. Tomorrow is Sunday, I know, but it is the 9/11 anniversary. I hope our government is taking care around the world and here at home to make sure that nothing happens tomorrow.
Just remember, whatever it is, it will probably have been prompted by some video some right-winger made.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, but it's a good point to tell people. You know what? Keep your eyes open tomorrow. If you're out at the malls, if you're at the movies, if you're at the airport or doing something, you know what? Tomorrow is a bad anniversary day, and there are people in this world who would love nothing more than to cause a ruckus on 9/11.
And it's an anniversary of two bad anniversaries, really. I mean, not to diminish New York, but Benghazi was a little more current also.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep your ears open this week. Well, let's get into the forum and talk a little bit about this week. There were some articles on the internet, and we put them up at thedailydrift.com. And if you're not going to thedailydrift.com, you should be, www.thedailydrift.com. Check it out. And one of the stories was during that forum, the video showed something in Hillary Clinton's ear. Right? And Ed was laughing earlier. That's her lozenge. She was putting her throat lozenge in her ear, saving it for later. Well, it kind of looked like that. It was translucent, so it was kind of hard to see. And some people said, well, she had an earpiece. She was being fed. And if you watch her performance during that forum, her speech was a little halting. It wasn't the normal speech from Hillary. When Hillary normally gives a speech at a rally, whatever, an appearance, she's a pretty good public speaker as a rule, right?
She's better at reading teleprompters than she is listening to the bud in her ear.
There you go. So, and of course, WikiLeaks released a document, an email from Huma Abedin, who's her right-hand gal, her girl Friday, whatever you want to call her. But it was old. I think it was from 2003 or 2009, whatever it was, but it was old. And people said, whatever. But she told Hillary, do you have your earpiece? Do you need me to bring it? Well, number one, if it's a hearing aid, you would say hearing aid, right? If Hillary's having hearing problems and is subject to wearing a hearing aid, that's one thing. But you would call it a hearing aid. Why would she call it an earpiece?
Well, because I think there's a connotation of hearing aid that basically is denigrating to people. Oh, you need a hearing aid. You must be a senior citizen, or you must be getting older now.
Yeah, but this is a private email between Huma and Thing. You think
still in all, the relationship between the two of them is perhaps something that doesn't get discussed much more.
You're much more genuine than I am because I'm not buying that story. Okay. You know what I mean? Earpiece versus hearing aid. Come on. Got your hearing aid? No.
Well, she may not have wanted to insult her boss, her very close friend.
Maybe. She's the handler, don't forget.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's enough. If you go back and watch it, and you can go onto YouTube and you can catch Hillary's, take a look at it, thinking about the fact that there could be an earpiece feeding her information while she's on it. You know what I mean? So I would say this. If they do these debates, there should be no earpieces allowed.
Or they should be vetted.
Or yes, give them and let them be vetted because you know what? Or run the scrambler, whatever you got to do.
Try and do a pairing to nearby Bluetooth devices and see what shows up.
You're not allowed, other than like a page of notes, there should certainly not be any earpieces on either candidate because I want to hear their quick response. And frankly, when it comes to debates, I don't mind. The questions should be give them the questions in advance. I want a fully prepared speech.
With a lifeline.
Lifeline. I would rather have a full detailed explanation than trying to get the catch me. Get you the I gotcha question. Screw the gotcha question. Give me, and I'm hoping these debates don't deteriorate into gotcha questions, which I know they will. But you know what? Let's get down to the detailed facts of. What's your economic plan? What's your national security plan? Excuse me. What's your immigration plan? You know what I mean? Give me that information. Let us know what you plan on doing. Don't try and fill up the time with gotcha.
Well, I don't know that Hillary needs an earbud to feed her questions or feed her answers to questions because, frankly, she rarely answers the questions she's asked anyhow. She always answers the questions she wished had been asked.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Derek, let's play track 3 because, oddly enough, excuse me,
I'm pulling Hillary. You got Hillary-itis?
I got Hillary-itis. Oddly enough, this Navy vet is allowed, and he's a Republican, he's allowed to ask a question of Hillary, and if you watch the look on her face when he's asking, oh my gosh, if she could shoot daggers out of her eyes, she most certainly would. And that video is available on the internet. You can see. But you got track 3 ready? All right, let's play this.
Hi, Matt. I'm with Lieutenant John Lester, who will stand with me
stand
here.
up here.
He began his military career by enlisting in the Air Force and then switched over to the Navy before he retired, where he flew P-3 Orions in Desert Storm and in Desert Shield. He's a Republican, and he has this question for you, Secretary Clinton.
Thank you.
Secretary Clinton, thank you very much for coming tonight. As a naval flight officer, I held a top secret sensitive compartmentalized information clearance, and that provided me access to materials and information highly sensitive to our warfighting capabilities. Had I communicated this information not following prescribed protocols, I would have been prosecuted and imprisoned. Secretary Clinton, how can you expect those such as myself, who were and are entrusted with America's most sensitive information, to have any confidence in your leadership as president when you clearly corrupted our national security?
Well, I appreciate your concern and also your experience, but let me try to make the distinctions that I think are important for me to answer your question. First, as I said to Matt, you know and I know, classified material is designated, it is marked, there is a header so that there is no dispute at all that what is being communicated to or from someone who has that access is marked classified. And what we have here is the use of an unclassified system by hundreds of people in our government to send information that was not marked. There were no headers. There was no statement, top secret, secret, or confidential. I communicated about classified material on a wholly separate system. I took it very seriously.
All right. What a bunch of gobbledygook. Was she not listening to Director Comey say, yes, there was classified information on your server? Woman, you are a liar.
Man, I'll tell you.
She's just an outright lying POS, man. That's all I can say. I'm just flabbergasted that the media allows her to get away with this kind of garbage.
I was interested when I found out that Flying Officer Lester was basically a P-3 Orion pilot. Turns out he's an acquaintance of a friend of mine who's a former Orion pilot. And my wife, Sherry, was talking to our son on the phone the other day, who's a senior chief petty officer, and he's on a nuclear submarine. And basically, he's the, what do they call that, the chief of the boat, top enlisted officer on the nuclear submarine. And he came back and said, look, if I were to do anything at all like she did with communications, just like Flying Officer Lester, out the door, in prison, Leavenworth, bye-bye.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. There was that naval seaman on one of the naval boats.
Yes.
He had a couple of selfies on the boat. And
with the nuclear reactor in the background.
Yeah, and he threw the phone away, whatever. And I think he got a year in jail.
He got a year. Yep.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
So that's 6 pictures. And Hillary Clinton gets to walk away scot-free.
And I hope this does something. Unfortunately, even on our son's Facebook account, I've seen people supporting Hillary, shipmates and the like, younger enlisted, and it really is discouraging. And I'm hoping this has some effect on the military vote. There are military people who support the Democrat left, and it's
still,
jeez,
you know, it's the percentage I think is way up for Trump as opposed to Hillary, but still, it makes you wonder about those that are in there and can actually, knowing what they know, still support the Democrats in this.
And I'm hoping something like this swings them.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, let's go. I started this 2 weeks ago, and we were hitting Hillary pretty hard. Derek, you got track 7 ready? That's that Trey Gowdy. I want you to talk this. Let's talk about Hillary and her servers, and let Trey Gowdy comment on those. Go ahead.
House Oversight Committee member Trey Gowdy joins us now. Good morning, sir. Good to have you back on the program. She says it's smoke, but there is no fire here. Your thoughts?
No, it's arson. It's pyromania. It's not smoke. Even listening to her talk about the Clinton Foundation, I couldn't help but go back and remember the press conference she gave on her emails, Martha, where every single thing she said proved to be false. That's the interesting thing about credibility and believability. You can't just keep it in one compartment. When you are a habitual serial liar in this facet of life, it tends to make people not believe you in other facets of life. So when she's talking about the Clinton Foundation, I go back and remember her saying there's no classified information. I only use one device. I did it for convenience, all of which were proven to be false.
Yeah. Well, one of the big questions here.